Just a reflection, just a few words about myself. I consider myself a silicon guy. I spent most of my career crafting transistors and putting them into silicon and making sure that they work. So abstractions are a little bit upsetting to me, right? When people started virtualizing machines, I was quite upset because it used to be that you write software on top of machines and not the other way around. So today I heard terms like minimum viable centralization, which is interesting, or the concept of dematerializing things. That was interesting as well. But I think these ideas are powerful, are quite powerful because they leverage equality and democratization. And the idea that you can authenticate without an actual centralized corruptible authority is extremely powerful. And of course, it has a Promethean aspect, right? Fire can be used for good or for bad. But it is pretty clear that bad actors cannot destroy something of value. There are many questions, right? Is identity management always a good thing? How about the right to be forgotten? How you could enforce this right in this new environment? Will open auditability be a cure for all? And how about this always vulnerable weak link when you link the virtual to the real? You know, smart RFIDs, or maybe we will encode every grape with an identity to make sure that this works. So maybe, again, silicon people like me, you know, looking down at the real level can have some value as well. But just in closing, if history tells us something, is that technology advances by demand, by popular demand, and if the demand is democratized, then it generally has a positive influence. Of course, there has to be maturity in the technology, but the technology has to mature in a way that you do not need to be an expert to benefit from it. We all know that. And one item that really struck a chord, and I would like to close with that thought, is that this human-in-the-loop interface, it was mentioned in the context of algorithmic governance and how this human-in-the-loop will be necessary as well. And there I see a point of convergence that actually saw in this final talk. In other forums in CITRIS and the Banato Institute, we talk about the advance of automation, AI, robotics, and the influence it will have in the future of work, in the future of learning, in the future of humanity in general. And we'll talk about, in this context, about how jobs change, about the gig economy, how we can move finally to a barter economy. So the prospect of blockchain technologies enabling community-based, decentralized economies like this, imagine an Uber-like, eBay-like, Airbnb-like business model without a central authority, and imagine the combination of all of them into one. So this is quite interesting. And I think it comes exactly at the right time when the future of work is changing. So it is very interesting to see that convergence. And of course, here at CITRIS and the Banato Institute, we are fortunate enough to be at the epicenter of that. So I feel very, very lucky to be here. So in closing, of course, I'm extremely grateful to our partners, specifically INRIA and the European speakers that will help CITRIS keep this global perspective on new technologies. And of course, the political, social, economic impact. We are highly inspired by our students that are working at this crossroads of new technologies. Social benefit in this public university is always at the forefront. So seeing things like the student group blockchain at Berkeley is inspiring. Again, this is a combination of technology and social impact that makes CITRIS and the Banato Institute what it is. So in closing, I would like to thank INRIA for the partnership. I would like to thank our sponsors, the Consul General of France, System X, KNL Gates Center for Long-Term Cybersecurity, Berkeley Institute of Data Science, Blockchain at Berkeley, and Berkeley Center for Law and Democracy, and the amazing staff at CITRIS that makes it all possible and makes it look easy, and I know it is not. And of course, the program and the organizer committees with a special notes to Camille Crittenden, Brandy, and Valerie for their hard work. So thank you all very much, and I hope that I can see you all at the atrium for the nice reception.